Hello and welcome. I am so glad you're here. I'm Beth, a creator-based coach with CMH Coaching for Life. I'm here today to help you and those you love create a life you feel grounded and at home in. Think of a life where you feel peace, love for those around you, and in a flow with just enough challenge to keep you happy and creating something wonderful. Sounds like magic, but it's not. You can create that life every single day. You can have a life full of love, excitement, hope, and creation. Our mission at CMH Coaching is to flood the earth with light through compassion, mindfulness, and hope. And I'm going to ask a favor of you. If you like what you see and hear today, think of someone you know that would enjoy and benefit from this message. Our mission is to flood the world with compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Share this with them. But for now, this is time just for you. So settle into whatever you're doing and enjoy this time with the girls, where we create that one awesome, amazing, perfect life every one of us is seeking. Are you ready? You are now being recorded.
Yeah, good Christmas. We're continuing Christmas with my son and daughter-in-law and my four grandkids. So they're getting here, traveling over the mountain, and then they'll be here and it will be Christmas all over again. Yeah, it'll be fun.
It'll be a really good day.
It will be.
Well,
yeah.
Yes, Jacine, this is your day. So just pick us up and carry us off.
Hey, I'm taking lead on this. Oh my gosh. So I love year-end things because reflection. It's a time for reflection. And John C. Maxwell has a leadership program that he offers to people. And part of that leadership program is the year in review. And my favorite part of that is reflection. And I just want to put it out there that as we reflect, that to always look at what we did, like, what are you most proud of this year? And that's how I love to start with reflections. So as you think about that, what are you most proud of this year?
I'm writing it down.
And yeah, right. And it's something
That's
to
a powerful
think about.
Question.
It's because, if you think about it, and ask it 3 or 5 times, three or 5. Got it? 3 or 5, not 2
not
or 4, 3 or 5, right? I don't know where that came from.
Doesn't matter. It's just the day after Christmas. I told you it's going to take me 2 weeks to get over it. Carte blanche. You have carte blanche.
Okay, great. So as you're asking that question, it'll start surface for most people. I'm not going to say that you guys will be that way, our 50/50 Girl Club or our podcast listeners, but ask it again. So get your first answer and then ask it again. First, ask why. Why am I most proud of that moment? Or what was my most powerful moment? And then say, is there more? So, right? Ask, is there more? So oftentimes you'll get 3, at least 3 deep, and you'll be like, oh man, that's way deeper than I thought it was. So it offers some powerful opportunity to really think and reflect.
It sounds like you've done this yourself.
I have. Yeah.
There is a story, a time where you maybe could help us see where you went 3 or 5 times and
Yeah. So I'm going to have to think about this because I've been doing it for a while. And so it, like anything else with practice, you get really good at finding the root. So I think when I first started, it was, I'm really proud of I'll just use when I first started doing business coaching and created modules for people online before Zoom was a thing. I was, that's what I was like, oh, I'm so proud. I created these modules and this is amazing. And then I said, well, why? Why is that?
I
Why is
love
that
that
important to
question.
me?
Why? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I thought, well, okay, because I'm able to work from home now. And because we moved and, I didn't want to go out and find a new job in a new place. And so anyway, I could be home now. And so I'm like, oh, I can be home now. And then I'm like, well, why is that important?
Uh-huh.
Right.
Sure.
And and then it became my bottom line was, and I think that was a 5 deeper. So I, I get to be home more. Well, why is it important that I'm home more? Well, I have, we were, our marriage was struggling. We were in, all of our kids had moved out, empty nesters. It was a rough time.
Yeah.
And I needed to be home so that I could have a stronger relationship with my husband, that it wasn't so focused on just work stuff, because I can get really hyper. I love work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love work because I love helping people. But when I got down to it, that was the surface. The deep, deep part was that it was about my relationship with my husband and our family.
I
So,
love that. So it
yeah.
came all the way down to your core value.
Yes.
I made this
Mm-hmm.
really cool program online all the way down to why that really mattered was because of your
Yeah.
relationships. Yeah, your core values.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that is
And
powerful.
yeah. And then what happens is during your struggle, you can remember what it's really about, because sometimes it doesn't go like you plan it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Right? It's crazy.
Yep.
So and so if you create time, here's the thing. We've got to create time to reflect. And you're not going to just have time because our lives are so crazy busy, right? We've got moms out there. We've got working moms. We've got people that are starting businesses. We've got people that are, in corporations, and just life is busy. So we've got to create time to reflect. So I have a couple of questions for you guys. Um, what do you think about these statements? So what are your thoughts on these statements? What I value is what I find time for.
I
What do you
love
guys think about that
I
statement?
love that statement. I listened to the podcast by John C. Maxwell about the
Yeah.
urinary. And when he said, what I value is what I find time for, I'm like, that's hands down it. You can tell what
Mm-hmm.
you just by going through your daily agenda, where you spend your time. And it can be really disheartening. I know the first time I did it, I'm like, oh, I really valued Netflix. Oh, I really value shopping online. Oh, I really value ice cream. But I didn't have so many of the things that I espoused as my core values on it. And so
Mm-hmm.
that was like an aha wake up moment for me to say, I'm not doing what I really value. I'm letting these other distractions get in the way.
So powerful. Oh my gosh. Like
Yeah.
it is, right?
It
Because
was
we
so
say,
powerful for me. I really felt judged. My inner critic, of course, popped right up, and a little bit ashamed. But that is, I needed to have that aha in order to really shift. And now I have a reflection moment. I have reflection time when I first get up in the morning, but then
mm-hmm.
a little reflection moment just before I go to work. And I'll stop and I'll pause and I'll check in with my creator. I'll have prayer. And the funniest thing happened this morning. You guys are going to giggle about this, but I was in the scriptures this morning studying and just kind of wandering around. You know how sometimes you'll just get into
Mm-hmm.
just wandering around, different thoughts, different things you write down. You're just kind of open, enjoying the quiet moment. And I got into looking up the word creator. And I had
Oh.
much fun digging through. I'm going to go back and continue the study. It's going to be a big study for me. And I really felt led to do the word creator. So that's one story. Next story. This morning, just before I came into work, I paused for that reflective moment, and I keep a journal there so that when I pray, if there's something that I need to write down and remember, as soon as I get to work, it's like,
Yep.
I have to have it written down. But I have written literally 5 days ago, study the word creator in that journal. And I'm like, oh, well, this must be really important. But it happened because of the moments of reflection. If I had been at my desk this morning in that quiet space of reflection and recovery, I would not have been looking through creator like that. And I would have missed, even because it was in my journal, it just was 3 words at the top of the page. And I didn't go back and see it when I was looking at other things. I'd missed it. And this was my tender mercy reminder. This is important in those reflective moments.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm so
what I
value study. I can't
what
wait
I
to
value.
hear. Yeah, what I value. I value that connection with my creator. I love being guided. And so I value time.
Right. And therefore you put it in the time, you get up early, you make sure that's your sacred time, and you don't mess with it.
Yeah. I just don't. It's the way I start every single day, quiet time.
Jen, how about you? What are your thoughts on what I value is what I find time for?
Oh, total truth statement. I mean, like, when you have those that are just really like a punch. Yeah. And I too, it was like, there are times I do value the things that aren't productive, because I find myself going down the YouTube rabbit hole, those type of things. And so, but I think sometimes it's okay to have some like breaks. I can't always be on target and on task. So I think for me, it's going to be when I'm in that moment, am I valuing whatever this is bringing to me? Like I really just am trying to apply some of the principles we learned from our reading of Sacred Rest. Like, am I valuing the moment, that as I'm going out into nature, it's like the needful things. So I don't know, it just really got me thinking a lot, but also helped me to understand, I do waste a lot of time, but work in progress.
Permission to be human. Yep. That's who we are.
So true. And that's interesting that you bring that up, Jen, the sacred rest thing, because that's something that I get when I said that I love work. I get really hyper focused on that. And then I lose my core values, or I don't lose them. They're still there.
They get buried.
Yeah, they get buried
by the immediate.
Yeah. And I think it's because I get this dopamine rush when I'm accomplishing. And then, right? Like a junkie.
Yeah.
You're just like,
have you ever find yourself writing down even like the minute things so you can check it off?
Cross them off. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not just clean the kitchen, dishes, floor. Yes, I can like check things off.
Yep. 100%. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's so interesting, but I have to give myself permission to rest. Like that is something that I love. And I have to go back to my inner child and remember what it looked like. What did I used to love to do? Right?
Yeah.
Because those are the things that build connection and relationships, and not just with family and friends, but with our creator. And it's just, so powerful.
That relationship with yourself.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Which brings us to the next statement. Reflection turns experience into insight.
That is so powerful.
John Maxwell. Yeah.
Yeah. I am still stewing on that. Reflection turns, say it again.
Okay. Experience. Yeah. Reflection turns experience into insight.
This is the first thing that comes to mind for me with this is when we do emotional work, when we're working with a client and we've worked through whatever's going on. Maybe we did meditation with a goal. Maybe we did releasing emotions. Maybe we did aroma freedom, whatever we did together. When they leave a session, invariably, I will say, okay, so you just did a lot of work. Everything's reorganizing in there. You're going to be processing for the next 3 days. While you're processing, you might pay attention, what's going on in your mind. And for me, that's exactly what Maxwell said. When we allow things to process, when we will focus, we can take that experience and let it transition into a new truth. Yeah. In my vocabulary, it's processing. I got to give myself time to process what just happened. When I read, what's that book, Jen, that you loved so much? Mutant Message from Down Under. One of the things that they did in the Aboriginal culture was when they received some kind of physical thing and it was of value to them and they loved it, they would spend some time with it and create a memory. And once they had memory created, they no longer needed the object. They passed it along. So someone else could love that and create a memory. And what did we just do all weekend long? Created memories.
Create memories.
Right? So when we spend a little bit of time processing or taking that experience and allowing it to become, I don't know what that word is.
Reflection or insight. Yeah.
Insight. When you take that
insight
and let it turn into insight, you're holding on to that memory the same way. And I kind of love that. I'm enjoying today having it be a little quieter after such a busy day yesterday and allowing the experiences of yesterday to integrate and to become memories. I don't need the stuff. I just want to hold on to the experience. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
Oh, that's something I really want to work on going forward because we don't need stuff, but we treasure the memories of things that we've learned or experienced.
Man, that's so cool because it leads to like reflective questions. So sometimes people, are, how do I process, right? Using your words, Beth, is, what are these processing questions? And one of them is, what do I feel? Which that is equal to our intuition. What am I feeling? How do I feel about that? How do I feel about that memory? And how do I feel about what I'm most proud of? How do I feel about, and what is your intuition for that? What does that look like? What does it feel like? And the second question that's super powerful when we're thinking about reflecting is, what do I know? So what are the facts for this given situation, right? What are the facts around what I'm most proud of? What are the facts around what I'd really like to work on? What's my biggest opportunity for growth in 2022 that I haven't yet accomplished? And pulling out those facts, what are those facts? And then what do I think? And this is what I love. What are
That's
the
my favorite place to be. That's right.
Get
to go do something.
Yeah. What are the possibilities? What do I get to create? And as we reflect on that, or what did I get to create in 2022? So looking back on all of those as we reflect on our 2022 year, and, really, Beth, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get down to doing this on a daily basis like you are, because as we do it on a daily basis, it becomes really, really simple and part of life. And I know you guys have talked about 5-year journals before.
Yep.
And
And what does John C. Maxwell talk about in that podcast? But 5 minutes, take 5 minutes to reflect on, and these are your words, what went well today, right? What are you most proud of? Yeah.
Yep.
And those that little square in the 5-year journal really lets you see your progress when you go back over a year or 2 years. I'm on year 4 now in my 5-year journal.
So
and it's so wild to look back and go, because it started in 2019 and y'all know how much change we've experienced since 2019. Yeah. And that reflection. But I love the questions of the intuitive questions. How do I feel about that? You know, that's a new dimension for me to look into with the journal.
How do I
feel about that?
How do I feel about it? What do I know? And then what do I think? What are these possibilities? And I love, he has this statement that he says, good thinking takes everything to a higher level.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and thinking bridges, what does he say? Thinking is the bridge between feeling and the facts.
Well, and isn't thinking quite often what we avoid most? Wouldn't we rather check a box and get the dopamine hit?
Right. Yeah. Or Facebook scroll, right? Facebook scroll. Instagram, whatever.
I think,
for me too.
I think the possibility might be that when we do sit down and think, we may not like what comes up.
And I think so that's
wonderful. Sometimes why we don't want to do that step, but that's part of that growth cycle. That's part of like accepting where you are, what it is, and moving forward. And I think that's part of that good thinking.
Yeah.
You know, you don't stay there and belittle yourself and shame yourself. Like you accept it and like you said before, what can I do differently now? What can I do this to grow from?
Yeah.
I do want to another point as you're talking about the 5-year journal. For me, sometimes it's really hard to look back on a year and see my progress. So sometimes I have to have something that measures along so you can go back and go, oh yeah. And you can kind of give yourself a little bit of that pat on the back, because growth and progression sometimes is not like so fast that you can measure it.
Incremental.
You have to look back and say, you know, I have come a long ways. I did do a lot of stuff. I do think different and act different now. I have accomplished X, Y, and Z. So it's sometimes really helpful to have something that you can look at and there's the evidence. You're like, wait a minute.
Jen, I think that's so powerful. As you were talking, I was remembering after just a really challenging experience, I was thinking, you know, when I was younger, I was so much more this, or I was so much more that, you know, and I just had that thought to go back and look in my journal and read those times in my life. And as I'm reading, I'm like, oh, wait, I've like really progressed. Like, what? I thought I was all that when I was, you know, 23. Holy smokes.
I had no anything.
Wow. I thought, like, in my mind, my thoughts were so mature. I was so much further along. And in my mind, I had regressed, you know, like, oh my gosh, and I read my journal. I'm like, oh,
I've really grown.
Wow, amazing. Interesting. That just speaks to how important it is, not just to reflect, but to actually write it down, right?
I learned a long time ago not to depend on my brain or my memory. I need to have evidence in front of me as writing.
No,
just 5 minutes. Well, please summarize maybe for somebody who's not done a year in review. If they were going to do that this coming week, set aside some time, what would that look like?
All right. So sit down. Here are the questions, right? What am I most proud of? So write it down.
Pull out that journal
what am I most
or
proud
notebook or whatever. Okay.
Yes. And then write, what am I most proud of? And then the second question is, why am I most proud of that? And then ask again, is there more? Is there more that I'm most proud of? And then why? So get it down at least 3 times. And then most people don't need a maximum more than 5 times, but really get down and decide what is it? What's at the core? What's at the root of this? And so summary. And then the next thing is, you know, as I reflect on this, what are some things that I'd like to do differently? Or what are my opportunities for growth in 2023? What do I wish I would have done differently? So those are just some quick questions. And then why? Again, why? So ask yourself, why? Why do I wish I would have done that differently? Or why do I wish? So that's going to really get to the root of why you're doing it. And then when you make your 2023 goals, you're able to look at it and you're going to know that your core value, what's at the core of this, and you're going to be able to hold on to, when things get hard, not letting that go, whether it's a nutrition plan. Yeah. Whether it's a nutrition plan or an exercise plan or whatever. Yeah.
If you could take that core value and break it down into 3 or maybe 4 categories, or gifts that you personally feel like you have, then it would be easy as you go through the coming year to kind of check in. How am I doing on my relationship? How am I doing with my teaching? How am I doing with those things that maybe would come up in the quiet of evaluating 2022 and looking into 2023? What would my growth experience be? It might come more clear to you. You think?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Because then I would have touch points. I'm just trying this on in myself because I've not done it.
Yeah.
And so what I would need is a little bit of a structure so that, usually the 3rd or 4th week in January, I'm pretty well off track, and that I would have a place to touch base. Yeah. Come on. It feels good to check the boxes. I need to come back to the core values, right? And so if I had those few specific areas, I could use these questions that way. Would that work?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would definitely use those questions that way. Yeah. Yeah. And then, what do I feel? What do I know? And what do I think?
And then make those micro adjustments as we go through the year and make whatever changes we need to make in that way. How often would it be good for people to check in with this?
So checking in, how often would be great to check in daily, right? But that's a big ask.
The big goals. Yeah,
that's a big ask. So always monthly. So you're always reflecting minimum monthly. How am I doing on this? And it might evolve. That was my word from last year, was evolve.
Exciting word.
That was it was an exciting word, and it was really cool. So, looking back and reflecting on that on a monthly basis, how is this evolution? What does that look like right now for me? And in this last month. So as you get towards the end of the month, schedule some time to reflect, put it on there. And Darren Hardy calls it a jam session. And he's like, you put a note on the door and you just say, this is my 90 minutes that nobody gets, and minimum of 30 minutes. Nobody gets to bug me. You turn off your phone, you turn off anything on your computer, anything that's going to make noises to interrupt you, because your monkey brain is going to take over or your squirrel brain or whatever you want to call it. Right. So, and then set your timer. So set a timer so that you have a minimum of 30 minutes, maximum of 90 minutes to just reflect and to write down everything that comes to your mind. Yeah. So some great questions to think about are, what should I do less? What should I do more? Who should I share this with? Because if we just keep it all to ourselves, that accountability is like super powerful, isn't it?
We do. We need to declare it. It's really important we declare it, whether it's with a friend or with your husband or on Facebook or whatever. It needs. Plus, when we share it, we internalize it so much more. When
we do, because we have to speak it.
Yeah, just speaking it out loud is powerful.
It's so funny because so often I'm like, it sounds so great in my brain. And then I speak it and it's like,
that needs a little work. Let's go back to the drawing board.
It's like, oh, it's so wonderful. And then you speak it and you're like, and not.
Maybe not, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little out there. That is funny.
But just keep it simple. What am I proud of this month? What do I want to work on? What do I want to improve next month?
Okay.
To get to my ultimate goal. Two questions. That's it.
Okay.
And then those reflective, Yeah.
Yeah. And just making that a priority, letting your life reflect the importance of this particular powerful practice, because you do it.
Yeah. Reflection is so beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Reflecting
and creators even better.
Yes. Yeah. And again, make sure when you're reflecting, like Jen was saying, good thinking takes everything to a higher level. So if you're reflecting and you're feeling like crap, if you're not taking no, that's not good thinking. And that's not the way you should be thinking. So, yeah. So
if you need to, you might have to go through and question your thoughts a little bit.
And if you need help doing that, we have previous Facebooks that Jen is really good in talking about questioning herself and her inner our inner critic, right? That whole series, right? That whole series that we did starting, when was that? October through November was the inner critic.
On the inner critic.
So guys,
and all the tools
go
are there.
back. Yeah, go back and listen to those on our podcast. Go back and watch them on the Facebook Live if you're part of the 50/50 Girl Club. If you're not, you should be, because
exactly.
Oh, amazing. And it's really, really right now, the price is pretty low. And it's $1.99 a month, which is just a no-brainer. Yeah. So
easy.
So Beth, where do we go to find that and sign up for it?
For the 50/50 Girl Club, if you are part of our mailing list, which you probably are, you'll get a link every single week at the bottom of the email. And so there's that link there. And then we have a Square link we're more than happy to share. Find it on the Creator-Based Coaching webpage or the Creator-Based Coaching Facebook page. It's there.
Love that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, come join us. Join us next week. You're welcome.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Delightful. Let's do it again.
Sounds good.
Like next Monday.
In a year.
Oh no. We can't wait that long for you to come back.
No.
Okay, well, thank you guys. We will talk again soon. Y'all have a beautiful week.
Bye guys.
With gratitude, I give thanks for everything, with every little thought I think.
Hey, thanks for joining us today in A Creator-Based Life. I hope you felt that compassion, mindfulness, and hope you came seeking today. You can find more of it at cmhcoaching.com or on Linktree/cmhcoaching. Of course, any social media outlet, we're there too. Because you felt the benefit and light in this message, please invite those you care deeply about to join us. Help us to create a ripple effect across the globe of compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Then we can create a creator-based life together. Have a great week, y'all. We'll talk to you soon.
You gotta watch. What you thinking? What you thinking? Got to watch your thinking. When I'm feeling down and blue, I found a trick that I'll share with you. I can choose a better way with every little thought I think. And if I wake up with a bad attitude, I just fill my mind with gratitude. I give thanks for everything with every little thought I think. I can choose to be happy, choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I